If they'd made this allocation for this fridge 6 centimetres wider, it would have given any renter in the future the option of buying their own washing machine and putting in a laundry, which it didn't have. And that instantly increases the value of your rent. You've got an internal washing machine, which none of the other, or a lot of the other apartments, particularly in Potts Point where I lived at the time.
Let's go back to those same numbers. You buy a $500,000 property. Let's say you put $500,000 in, and I'm just going to round these numbers, and you go from one dwelling into two, and those two dwellings are worth $1.2 million. You spend $1 million after all said and done. So there's technically a 20% margin or $200,000 gross margin in that. You've got to pay a sales agent to sell both properties. So all of a sudden, then you're going to the fact of saying that's about $25,000 in sales costs. You're usually going to be having somewhere around about at least 12 months worth of interest repayments that were unencumbered or unpaid for in some way, shape or form. So let's say that's about another 25 odd grand. That's interest costs, which essentially is going to be negative. So that's about, where are we at? We're about 50 grand there. So from 200 down to 150. And let's assume that out of that 150, you might have other things like styling costs, advertising, and a range of other things to sell the two properties.
Over that period, we've already bought properties and had them revalued 5 to 10% higher in that period, right? So there are going to be people out there who sit on the sidelines and they're not going to take action and they're going to miss it.
I think at the time when I was holding that unit that I sold, it was the first property I ever bought, I think it was sitting about 5-10 grand a year negative. I sold that and did 3 cash flow deals over I think it was a 2-year window, plus picked up some other stuff. And I turned the portfolio about 60 grand a year positive. It was 60 something thousand a year positive.